Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about the Millennium Calendar. For one colorless, it's a legendary artifact that says whenever you untap one or more permanents during your untap step, put that many time counters on the Millennium Calendar, and 2, tap double the number of time counters on the Millennium Calendar, and when there are 1,000 or more time counters on the Millennium Calendar, sacrifice it and each opponent loses 1,000 life. So this card is really sweet, and not just for the ridiculous text of 1,000 time counters and 1,000 life being lost. I think it's actually a legitimate win con in certain decks, though you do need some very specific decks and you are going to be needing to pack quite a bit of protection, seeing as this doesn't have any inbuilt protection. So it's fairly similar to something like Helix Pinnacle, and that comes with Shroud, which means that it can't be targeted by your opponents, but it also means that you can't really do anything with it yourself. You just have to sink a ton of mana into it, and usually the best way to do that is with some kind of infinite mana combo. This new card isn't really going to work with any infinite mana kind of combo, but it does have some stuff going for it that Helix Pinnacle didn't. And the first thing is that this one is a win con instantly. You don't actually have to wait till your upkeep. The second this has 1,000 or more time counters on it, it's going to get sacrificed, and all of your opponents are going to lose 1,000 life. That means that it can really creep up on people, and they have to be very alert when playing against this, so you can just kind of win out of nowhere. I do like that kind of win con much more than having to wait till the upkeep, which is much fairer but much harder to pull off. So it's worded in a way where you can't really have infinite untaps with this that put counters on it, because you have to do it only during your untap phase, and normally nothing is going to trigger during your untap step, so you're not really going to be able to make any sort of combo at that time. That means that you kind of need to do this the fair way, but not really. There's actually a lot of ways to abuse that second ability that says double the number of time counters on the Millennium Calendar. One way to do that is with Unwinding Clock, of course, because you're going to get to untap all of your artifacts during each opponent's turn. That means that you're going to get to double first, then quadruple, then multiply by 8, and then multiply by 16 in a turn cycle. So with all that in mind, it should be fairly quick, and within 2 turn cycles, you should be able to have this at 1,000 time counters. One thing to remember is that you do have to go whole turn cycle first before you get any counters on this in the first place, which does make it a little bit slower because you can't just drop it and go off unless you have a way to put a time counter on it somehow. A card that I thought synergized very nicely with this was Clock of Omens, because you should have a bunch of artifacts if you're playing this in the deck, and then with Clock of Omens you're going to be able to tap 2 of those to untap this, thus being able to really go off if you have a bunch of artifacts lying around. Even stuff like treasures will work with this, and then it's just going to allow you to double it multiple times per turn, which again should make the clock much faster. It's kind of funny that this is essentially a clock, and a lot of the best cards with it are also clocks. Outside of that, it might be a decent win con in counters decks, since they're going to be proliferating and putting extra counters on stuff quite frequently, which means that you can get more mileage out of your double ability with this. They also tend to untap stuff during everybody's turn with things like Seedborn Muse, which again is very good with this card. A commander in particular that I think works very well with this is Vorel of the Hullclade, because he is going to basically double the counters on something, which is the same ability that the Millennium Calendar has. So even with nothing else out, you can activate the Millennium Calendar's own ability and then activate Vorel's ability to basically quadruple the counters every turn, which again should make getting this to 1,000 counters an absolute breeze. In any case, I think it's a really funny card and a super hilarious win con, and sometimes it's going to be an absolute pain to track this, and you're not really going to be able to use dice unless you use some weird method of lining them up or have a massive 100-sided die or something. But yeah, super cool and hilarious design, and I look forward to killing some folks with this. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.